What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, well, we have the fifth, and not final, but fifth legendary summoner, or second to last legendary summoner stat revealed. This is for the final non-dragon element, which is Death. It is called Astral Entity, which we've had the name for a while, designed by Crypto Reaper. And here we go. This is it. So, -2 armor, dodge for your entire team, and then resurrection, which again is only one. It'd be crazy if it would resurrect your entire team, but whatever the first monster that dies gets resurrected. So I gotta admit, I wasn't impressed when I first saw it. Now, here's the thing. We're seeing a lot of debuffs for armor, which I think is important, right? We saw debuffs for armor on the, not earth, but the fire side as well. And I would say that fire and earth tend to struggle with, fire and death tend to struggle with this a little bit more. That's why rust is super important for both of those splinters, because you have Queen Mycelia on the earth team, you have Kelia on the water team, you have, what's his name? Grandmaster Wraith on the life team, and then Lux Vega obviously can go across, but death and fire haven't had much. So I wasn't surprised to see a -2 armor on here. I think that will make things much more, obviously it'll make it much easier to kill your opponents with your death monsters now, which tend to be actually quite fast. As I've said from the beginning, a lot of the death monsters tend to be very good. It's just, I immediately think of like Silent Shavi, Cursed Wendeku. They don't have to waste a turn now fighting against, trying to work through that armor, or for someone like Cursed Wendeku having to use up a Thorns on a 1 armor, for example, right? That you can get that 2 damage immediately to your opponent's health if you can essentially rust it away, which is what this is. It's not the ability rust, but it accomplishes the same thing. Now, dodge, on the other hand, that's an interesting one, because there is a good amount of speed on the death team, and there's a couple of cards that come to mind right away. I was looking through these earlier. Riftwing, for one, which has backfire. Pelacor Deceiver, another one, which has the backfire ability. Now, if you're not familiar with Pelacor Deceiver, it is actually one of the rewards cards, Chaos Legion reward cards that usually people don't care for it. It out of all of the Pelacors, it tends to be not, one that doesn't get as much love as like the Bandit, the Conjurer, and the Mercenary. So, again, the fact that now I think you will have a monster, I think at max level, it's a speed of 5. It has flying and backfire. So you throw dodge in the mix, and now you can play in non-magic games. For example, you have a great death summoner that you can play in non-magic games, because before, if it was a non-magic game but you wanted to play death, you kind of had to work with Daddy's Brood. And sure, you got the -1 health, so it was still beneficial sometimes. But for any time that I had it, since I had Lux Vega, I would always opt for Lux Vega because I liked the buffs, or just the stat abilities there. Now you don't have to. You can go with someone like Astral Entity. And the third card that I was thinking of was Silent Shavi, another very, very fast card. So again, this is, if you're able to stack blind with it, with someone like Spirit Hoarder as well, I mean, you could have a very interesting backfire team, right? So, actually not backfire team, but you could have a very interesting speed team that may not take any hits. There's Lyra of the Dark, Supply Runner, all of those add speed. Like, I hate so much when my Lyra of the Dark is like 4 speed faster than whoever's sneaking on the other team, and they hit her all the time. So adding dodge in makes her an even better back tank in many ways. So again, -2 armor, the -2 armor and the dodge are actually quite good for me. Again, like I said, I was disappointed, but I want to see how he will play out. I don't know. I don't want to say he's necessarily niche, because again, I think there's value in all rule sets. It's not like, if it's a magic, you'll play it or not play it. If it's whatever, you'll play it or not play it. But with how prevalent armor is right now, the -2 armor is always going to come in handy, and the dodge, since it impacts your team, is always going to come in handy, unless of course you're choosing a slower speed team. But even then, even if your monsters are slower, that dodge still adds a 25% chance of a miss. So again, unless you're going up against some crazy magic spam team, this becomes a really interesting interesting summoner in many ways. Now, granted, there's still some ways to mitigate a lot of the magic spam, right? There's I believe silence with the new Soulbound War cards. There's what's his name, Jin Moirat, who has the magic reflect, right? So there's a couple of options here, and I think Astral Entity will actually be a little bit more. I feel like I would use it a lot more than Thaddeus Brute. I feel like there's a lot of situations where I'd want to play Death, and for the extra 2 mana, especially since the mana cap on a lot of games has gone up, I would opt for Astral Entity just because the dodge and the -2 armor I know will come in handy most of the time. And then of course the Resurrect is fantastic too. I mean, I'm not sure who dies quickly, or what kind of monsters you'd be able to take advantage of, but someone that immediately comes to mind would be essentially anybody that has void armor. So I'm thinking Legionnaire Alvar, or even what's his name, Jin Moirat, who we were just talking about, because then they come back with a ton of armor. Sure, it's only 1 health, but since there's no like healing, let's put it that way, since there's no healing, it makes it well, actually there is the tank healing from the Untamed card. I forgot what it's called, Tortazan Chief. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can do. And then, of course, you can throw in Coral Lurker, I suppose. Now, Coral Lurker, I believe, already has dodge. So that ability would be redundant. But if you're able to resurrect it and keep that taunt coming in, and speaking of taunt monsters, there's the Dark Hoan as well, which, again, that's an Untamed card, Untamed Legendary. So I don't know how many people are going to have that thing leveled up or even rented out. Obviously, there's not that many of them. In fact, why don't we actually jump over into the game here, and we can see where's it? Untamed Death Legendaries. So it's not bad. At level 1, you're gonna get flying and dodge, but it's still susceptible to magic. You would have to wait until you got to level 6, which again, for $30 per BCX, is that the best place to spend your capital? That's not for me to say, right? I mean, it's up to you, however you want to do it. But this would definitely be a card that would benefit. And while we're here, I wanted to show you the, where is it? Pelacor Deceiver at the highest levels as well. So, or even in gold, right? You get this backfire ability in gold, but at the highest levels, you get Retaliate. So again, he's a perfect one, in my opinion, where he gets a buff, actually. And so right now, I think they're still selling for like pennies, even though they're out of print. I think they're still selling for pennies on the market, or a penny. So we'll see if this thing has a little bit more utility over time. And then let's just take another quick look at Chaos Legion and see if there's any of the fast monsters here. Nobody specifically. I mean, everybody gets a benefit, right? Even someone like Soul Strangler will get a benefit of immediately attacking or bypassing armor. Ra would get would be great bypassing armor, as well as like a potential back tank too, because with the flying and the dodge, again, not very fast, but will make him a little bit more difficult to hit. I do wonder, Night Ghoul with this, with Force Field, just okay. So lots of good stuff here, in my opinion. I am cautiously optimistic, we'll call it, for the Death Summoner, and excited that we're going to get it here within the next couple of days, because I believe, and actually I don't know why I left that page, I believe we are just, 12/8/80. So we should be, now I'm in the US, but we should be doing this like shortly after midnight, February 1st. So next Wednesday, I believe, the day after we get the Soulbound reward cards, which will be awesome, the day after, we should be unlocking this, unless, of course, somebody wants to go through and buy about 20,000 packs right now. Then we would unlock it on January 31st and have a crazy Tuesday with the Soulbound reward cards dropping and the Astral Entity dropping, and anything else that they decide to do for the maintenance window on that day. But if there's no takers out there, I don't mind waiting another day. It'll make next week very, very exciting. So let's go back and check if there's anything else on here. Now, this is a 1 in 650, I believe, chance. Yeah, there it is. 1 in 650 chance for getting it. I'm only guaranteed a couple of them, or 2 of them, I think, but I've been lucky. Hopefully that luck continues, and hopefully your luck will be great on this airdrop as well. So keep in mind, there is still a discount on DEC, or on these packs through DEC. I believe DEC is about 30% off, so 0.0007. So if you were to buy for 4,000 DEC tokens, you would be able to pick up packs for a 70% discount, which I believe would be about $2.80. So that is up to you. We'll skip over the lore for now, but really, really cool stuff coming up ahead. An exciting week ahead for Splinterlands, I will say. To close out the month of January, I think this is going to be great. So that is all I have. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Are you a mix of both? I guess maybe that's where I'm at. I was initially disappointed, but I am excited to give it a try and use it in maybe more situational or niche, even though I said it's not situational or niche. I feel like it's actually more versatile, but I've already gone into my perspective enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.